Well, it really depends just how strong Gaddafi is militarily. There has been much conjecture about how many troops he has, how many tanks he has, how many planes he has, and whether they're in working order or not. I think we're going to be finding out over the next few days just how strong he is and how quickly, how much resistance he can put up. His strategic military bases are going to be hit. That's the intention. Bab el-Azizia, the military compound in the capital Tripoli, which is one of the seats of his military power, possibly Sabra, a southern city as well, and the battalions that are commanded by his sons, in particular his son Khamis. Now, once those have been hit, it may well be that Gaddafi turns out to be the emperor without any clothes, that he has no firepower left. Once that happens, he will have little to protect himself. But again, that is conjecture at this stage. We don't know how much resistance he can put up.
Indeed, and you mentioned as well as his air forces that there are many troops on the ground, and the rebels are saying that they need weapons from international sources to fight those troops. Might they get the help that they're asking for? And if so, where might that come from?
It's unclear right now. There's no indication that they're going to get outside weapons. They have weapons. They have ammunition. What they lack is skill. What they lack is military command. The army, for decades, had been kept at a fairly low level of military responsibility, as strange as that might sound. Those parts of the army that Gaddafi did arm and train well are the battalions commanded by his sons. The army, those of who was defected on the eastern coast, they're not particularly well trained. Whether they're going to get any outside help on the ground, that's unlikely. Whether they're going to get weapons, for the moment, no one's talking about that, at least officially.
So we're seeing a badly trained rebel force, but also potentially a weakened Gaddafi force too. Could this just lead to some kind of stalemate in Libya?
The Western powers want to avoid a Libya that is divided in two. Several things could happen. If Gaddafi feels that he is cornered militarily, he may become more amenable to negotiations. Remember that French President Nicolas Sarkozy yesterday was saying the door to negotiations will reopen once the violence has ceased. It's also possible that if his close allies feel cornered, and if they feel their survival depends on it, who knows whether they might not end up turning on Colonel Gaddafi. Another possibility is if militarily the level field the playing field has been leveled, then what's to stop rebels from continuing their push westwards towards the capital as they dream of doing, marching on to Sirte, Gaddafi bastion, and then some 500 kilometers later onto the capital Tripoli.
Indeed, and Western leaders have been very firm and very clear that they won't be sending in any ground troops. But if that stalemate does potentially take hold, is it inevitable that they will have to send ground troops in to finish things off?
It's not inevitable. They don't want to be sucked in. They can do a lot of damage with the airstrikes. We're about to find out how much damage they can do and whether that would be enough to give the rebels the upper hand. Until that question is answered, there's no telling just what the Western powers and the foreign powers that are involved in this military action will take as further steps. For the moment, what they need to do and what their military objective is to take out is to basically hit Gaddafi enough to debilitate his military force.
And briefly to end, these airstrikes seem to have blurred the lines a little bit in Libya between who holds which towns and which areas. So is there one city or one area that you think could become the key battleground in Libya in this conflict?
Right now, it's Benghazi. The front line is without a doubt Benghazi. Until 24 hours ago, Gaddafi forces had been pushing very rapidly onto this rebel stronghold and putting some men inside the suburbs of Benghazi. Once you do that, it becomes very difficult to fight that kind of war, repel that kind of enemy with airstrikes. I was caught in Ras Lanuf, some 3 hours drive westwards of Benghazi, at the moment when Gaddafi forces had managed to gain a foothold inside the buildings and they opened fire on the rebels. The rebels do not have the kind of strategy and know-how to fight this kind of guerrilla warfare. We're going to see how this develops in Benghazi right now.